Now, how are you coping with family life then during lockdown? Homeschooling, more on that later with Emma. Bored and hungry teenagers. Well, obviously families come in all different forms, and there are currently around 400 children and young people in foster care across Gloucestershire at the moment. They're part of a family unit, often staying long-term with their foster carers. So what is it like then as a foster carer in these times? In a moment, we'll speak to Maggie, who's fostering 2 teenage boys in Gloucester through the charity Community Foster Care. First, though, let's hear from Andrea and Russ. They are currently fostering a 4-year-old girl who's particularly vulnerable to infections.
Obviously, it's made a huge impact on everything that we do. So our foster child at the moment no longer goes to school, and because of health issues, she is very, very, very vulnerable. Other people will get a cold, she gets a chest infection. So we have to make sure that she goes nowhere, goes near no one.
The coronavirus has impacted us on a practical level in a number of ways.
Trying to keep her safe, trying to adjust to life inside, trying to cope all being together all the time.
Andrea and Russ there, who are currently fostering a 4-year-old who's particularly vulnerable to infections. Well, Maggie's been a foster carer with Community Foster Care locally for the last 12 years. She's currently looking after 2 teenagers and joins me on the phone. Hello, morning to you, Maggie.
Good morning.
Obviously, you're at the other end of the sort of age spectrum then, from Andrea and Russ, 4-year-old, and you've got 2 lads who are older teenagers, is that right?
Correct, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 2 older boys. Luckily, they got on really well together. But, of course, you know, the different age groups have different things that they're dealing with at this time. The 2 boys I have are obviously missing contact with family, with friends, all the important things that you have in your life. They're both in their first year of colleges, so they feel, although the colleges are doing the best they can, they feel that they're sort of missing out on important times for that, and also their social life in college as well, you know, building up friendships and learning all the things you do as you get older.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. My daughter is a similar age, and you know, she's very excited to be at college and all her mates, and then suddenly, obviously, that's taken away, like it is for everyone at the moment. And they are doing a great job, but it's not the same, is it? Sitting in your bedroom doing a lesson, not the same as having the ability of a little bit of independence, going on the bus or going wherever to meet up with friends as well as learning. Is it? I wonder if it's is it just typical then teenage experience for you at the moment? Are there other things you have to address as well when you're a foster carer?
Well, are you meaning particularly in this COVID situation?
I was thinking
so,
yeah. I was thinking about the COVID situation.
Yeah, it's hard on them because, I mean, they do understand what's going on and they understand the seriousness of staying at home and washing hands and all that kind of thing, but they're also just beginning to become young adults and they want to do their own thing, they want to make their own decisions. So, yet again, they're feeling that, you know, I'm telling them what to do, I'm telling them that now not only to brush their teeth, but to be more careful washing their hands, being extra careful of, you know, who they're talking to online as well. That's another kind of issue. So, for them, it's just understanding, but also wanting to sort of kind of do their own thing and sort of push their own lives on a bit further as well.
How are you being supported during lockdown, I wonder?
Well, I think we're lucky in Community Foster Care, to be honest with you. I mean, they're a wonderful charity. Normally we would have monthly supervision meetings, you know, face-to-face with our social workers, but that's being done now via Zoom meetings or WhatsApp video calls. So they're supporting us as individual carers, but they're also doing their best to support the young people in our care. They're organising online competitions, baking competitions, drawing competitions for the younger ones. And then where it's necessary, they're contacting the young people just to give the carers some time as well, because the carers need some time. And that depends on the age group, because we've got the whole age range, as you can imagine, within the charity, from very young children up to the age group that I'm looking after, and each age group needs something different.
What drew you to fostering, I'm thinking?
Well, particularly with Community Foster Care, I chose them in the end because they're a charity. You know, they put their money where their mouth is, and all the profit they make goes back into bettering the chances of all the young people in our community. But fostering immediately for me was something that I saw when I was working. I was working as part of the council in Gloucester, and I could see lots of young people on the street and coming into our offices and needing a shelter, and it was just something that I felt very strongly about, and I thought it was about time I did something to help.
So it was like something that got into your head, and once it was in there, it wasn't going away till you acted on it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I wasn't sure what to do or how to go about doing it, so I did a lot of research at the time. There's a lot of need out there, but as I say, I chose community foster care in the end because they're a charity. It's more like a sort of a large family feeling. Everybody tries to look after each other. We have support group meetings for the carers. There's one actually going on now as we speak, so I'm not part of that.
Is that right? I missed out on that one. Sorry about that.
Yeah, what they do, they'll record it with everybody's permission. So I'll get a recording of that later, so I can still see what went on and what people are going through, and we can share our own individual situations and see if somebody else has got something that they're dealing with that we haven't thought of that. So it's very good like that.
Did you specifically say you wanted to care for older children? I imagine, I might be wrong, I imagine that there's quite a flurry of interest in young children. Is there the same interest in teens?
There isn't. I mean, there's more interest, I think, in younger children. I can look after any child from birth up to the age of 18. I have looked after younger children in the past. I started off as a respite carer because I wanted to make sure in the very early days that I could do what I wanted to do, that I was actually capable of doing it. So I started off on respite care, and then gradually that built up. And one young person that I was offering respite to, we just got on very well. His situation changed, and it just happened that I was the right carer for him to move on forward. And that's when I started being a long-term carer. But we can do respite for each other, so we get a lot of contact with the other young people in our charity as well, and of course all our carers.
But presumably not at the moment because of lockdown, or if that's all come to a halt, would it have done?
Yes, absolutely. Everything we do at the moment is by Zoom meetings, internet meetings. Thank God for the internet. Phone calls, WhatsApps. The supervising social workers always come to us, and we've got our family care workers who contact us and see what our needs are within our household, and then something is made up, for individual households, depending on the age group of the young people and what the needs of the children and the carers are.
Well, it's Foster Care Fortnight at the moment, and obviously life goes on in whatever circumstances for everybody. There's presumably always a need for more people to sign up, even right now.
There is a need. There's always a need. And in fact, anybody who wants to have a look on our website, it's an excellent website. It gives you lots of information and a way of contacting us. And I would just encourage anybody who's thinking about doing it but aren't sure, just to get a bit more information. You can speak to one of our supervising social workers, even now, online, email, telephone, just to get more information.
Now, I've got two stepsons, and throughout their teenage years, the fridge was just never closed. I could never fill them up for long. You give them a 3-course meal, they'd walk round the room once, and then they were hungry again. I imagine with two older teens, that you just can't keep up with the provisions, can you?
Actually, that's not the easiest thing at the moment. I mean, I try just to go out once a week. We're kind of semi-isolating at the moment. I do obviously have to go out and do shopping once a week. But the shopping basket for a weekly shop for 3 of us, 2 teenage boys, is huge. And it seems I get my shopping on a Monday, and it seems by Wednesday they're saying, well, where's this and where's that? But we're trying to sort of look at it in a healthy way as well, and we're trying to do sort of exercise in the garden and try and give them different things to do, because I don't want them to overeat and not compensate by, not being able to go out. So we have to look at that as well, and that's another thing that we're trying to do.
All these different challenges. Really good to speak to you, Maggie. Thank you very much. Maggie's a foster carer then with Community Foster Care for the last 12 years, and she's currently looking after 2 teenage lads. And like probably every other teenager, they're actually getting to the point now where they want to get back to school or college. They want to get on, and sort of get on with their lives. You can find out more about fostering with Community Foster Care by calling 01452 849 301. That's Gloucester, 849 301, or you can look online, communityfostercare.co.uk.